Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, I hope all of you are fine and studying at home and doing your work on time. I hope you are preparing for your upcoming tests and exams. So today, basically, we are going to revise the chapter number 4. Chapter number 4 is basically about data communication and we have already studied this chapter. We have gone through this chapter. The notes are already uploaded in your Google Classroom for this chapter. Okay, so what we are going to do basically, we are going to have a revision. Why? Because we are going to have our coming test for this chapter. And the test will be conducted, inshallah, on Sunday, 20th of December. Okay, the schedule is already shared with you. You know about the schedule. So over here, we need to have a quick revision for this chapter and some important points when you are solving the paper, because I have seen some problems, in your papers. So I want that all the students should avoid those problems. Uh, some things are there that I want to discuss about the paper, which is based on the short questions and the long questions. So I found some things in your papers. I would like to discuss those things with you. So first we will have a quick revision and then we will see some important precautions while solving the paper. Okay. So this chapter, data communication, is about basically the communication which occurs between the different components when you have set up a network, when you are connecting one device with another device. So how the data transmits, this chapter basically covers these all points. If you see over here, the notes that I have given you, we had defined in the beginning what is meant by the data. We said that the data are the raw facts and figures that you enter in the computer system. Of course, the data is going to be converted into digital format. And when you will process it, and after processing, it will become information. It will be converted to information, means the useful format of the data. So basically, this is the basic definition of the computer as well. The device that takes input the data from input device and processes it and gives us the information in the form of output using output device. So basic definitions are there in the beginning. What is data and what is information? What is meant by the data transmission? When you are sending data from one device and to another device, that is basically called the transmission of the data. So I had shared with you the basic definitions in the form of, the PowerPoint presentations as well. So definitions are given to you. Over here you can see this text as well. I hope you are able to see. So I am reading from these notes right now. Why? Because I have already given you these files in your Google Classroom. You will read from here. So I am going to explain these things once again so that you must have a quick review for these all topics. Transmission basically refers to the transfer of data from one device to another device over the local area network, over wide area network, or even over the internet. When you are sending data from one device to another device, that is basically called the data transmission. So the question may be asked in the form of a definition. These are the terms related to the data communication. Then we saw that there is analog and digital signal. So before going towards the analog and digital signal, we had defined what is actually a signal. In electronics or in telecommunication, it refers to any time varying voltage, current, or electromagnetic wave that carries information. Or a signal is an electrical or electromagnetic current that is used for carrying data from one device to another device. And we said that the signals are used in the communication, in computing, in networking, in electronic devices. An analog signal will always be based on an analog current, and it will be in the form of a continuous wave. Continuous wave will be there. And some students, those who had written the answers in their papers, they had drawn the image as well. They had given the image as well over there, describing the analog signal. And this is a good thing that when you are writing one answer, if you have the space, you should draw the related diagram, even if it is not mentioned, to elaborate your answer. But does not mean one answer was there in which the student has drawn the image only and he did not describe. The question was not about to draw. If you are drawing in the support, then that's fine. But if you are just drawing and you are not writing the answer, of course you are not going to have the full marks. So first you need to define what is actually an analog signal, and then in the support, if you are writing the answer, then fine, it's good. Or you are drawing that what is basically the digital signal, it's good, doesn't matter. So a digital signal will be in the form of zeros and ones in the form of the discrete numbers, which are basically represented by the logic gates, states like 0 and 1, low and comparatively high voltages of current. And in support, if you are drawing this, fine. If the question is to draw, then of course you are going to draw. But if the question is not to draw, so you don't need to draw. If you are drawing in the support, fine, but you need to write your answer, because the examiner is going to read the answer. Okay. So this is the thing that we need to understand, that what kind of question is there. And if the question is to differentiate, keep in mind that you will always draw the line and then you are going to differentiate. Some students are just differentiating in the points in the passage. You're writing one paragraph to differentiate, which is not a good approach. If you're just writing a paragraph, so the points are not clear, that what is the point of differentiation, how you are going to differentiate, on which point you are going to create one difference between the two things. So when you are differentiating something, anything, for example, analog digital current, analog computer, digital computer, okay, LAN and WAN, anything you are going to differentiate in that situation, you need to draw a line. I don't want to see any answer in the upcoming papers where you are just differentiating in the form of a passage paragraph. No, you will always differentiate, whether it is differentiate. Let me show you the command words which are considered as comparison. Either there will be compare or there will be differentiate, or there will be right differences. Okay, make comparison, compare, differentiate. So in that situation, you are going to draw the line and then you are going to write point by point. Point should be relevant that you are writing. For example, here you are saying continuous signal and here you are saying digital signal. So this is a point. That is basically point of difference. But if you are over here, you are writing continuous signal and over here you are writing something else. For example, over here you are writing it is used in digital devices. So then this is not a difference. Keep in mind. Some students wrote the answers in that format, that here they are writing a thing which is something else, and here in the difference they are writing the thing which is entirely different thing. If on the left side you are talking about this formation of the signal, then on the right side the same thing should be there. That's why I added one column on the left, that nature of the heading of the difference. Heading of the difference you can include, but if you don't include, doesn't matter. But there should be same thing, same criteria on which you are differentiating. Some students were differentiating on different criteria. All these students will keep the cameras closed. So I don't want to see next time such kind of problems. Just like over here you are saying that these are represented by sine waves, over here you are writing these are represented by square waves. But over here if you don't write this thing and you write that a digital signal is used in digital devices, so definitely then it is not a relevant difference that you are writing something else. Okay, so you have to see this thing that whenever you are writing, or in other words you can take such kind of basis for comparison. Okay, basis for comparison, just like basic representation, description, range, etc., etc., you can also write your answer in this way as well. Okay, the same things are there written, but I have mentioned it in the some in some in some detail. So that's why the length of the lines are comparatively having more characters. Okay, so basis of the comparison you can add over here if you want to have. Now, data communication system. You may have the question to write about data communication system, data communication network. Some students are not aware of the terms that what a question is. They are writing irrelevant answer. Irrelevant answer. Question is something else and you're writing something else. Just like in the recent face-to-face exam, there were problems. The student was not able to identify what question is. For example, I'm just giving you example. I'm not mentioning any name over here. The question was there: define or describe any four network devices. What are the network devices? For example, the network devices are their router, switch, hub, network interface cards. Okay, these are the network devices. But the student is writing, the student did not understand the question, or if he understood but he tried to cheat the examiner, that he will see that he has written something and he wrote the different jobs available for the computer students. For example, database administrator, network administrator, web designer, graphic designer, you're writing this thing. So of course it is entirely a foolish approach. Of course the examiner is going to read your material. He will not see that your handwriting is good and you have written something, and he will not read and he will just give you the marks. Of course he will read. So identification of the problem, that what question is about, you need to see that and then you have to write the answer accordingly. So following are the five components: data, sender, receiver, transmission medium, and the protocol. If they ask you to draw the diagrammatic representation, you should. If they don't have mention and the question is describe or write note, then you can include, it's up to you. But if the question is describe, so you need to describe. You are not going to just draw the diagram and you will say that this is enough. No, first you will define what is meant by data, that data that needs to be transmitted. Sender, the entity which is going to send the message. Receiver, the entity which is going to receive the message. Transmission medium, either it will be wire or wireless, using which you are going to transfer your data. Protocol, you are going to follow some rules and regulation for this transmission. Just like we have different protocols available when we are sending email, when we are receiving email, when we are accessing World Wide Web. Okay, and then correct. These are basically the components, and I had, I think, shared with you one diagram for this as well. Yeah, this was the diagram. This is, I think, given uploaded in your Google Classroom separately. I had given you in your Google Classroom that this is basically the diagram showing you the components of the communication system. It is also called communication network. We also call it the communication network, the basic model of the communication network, the basic model of the communication system, where the data or the message is being sent from the sender to receiver over a medium, wired or wireless, using some protocol. This was also another question which was misunderstood by some students. Characteristics of good communication. If the question is about the characteristics of good communication and you are you are writing something else, you are writing some other type of thing which is not relevant to it. These are the good characteristics of for a good communication: accuracy, delivery, timeliness, that the message will be delivered accurately, there won't be any flaw in the message, there won't be any error in the message, the message will be delivered to the desired destination. Delivery, timeliness, the message will be delivered in within the due time. Okay, so a real time transmission contains a timeliness, it will be on time. So these are the characteristics for a good data communication. What are the transmission modes available? Transmission mode question can come to describe, transmission mode can come for differentiate as well. This question can come in order to differentiate asynchronous with synchronous. But if you don't remember the answer and you are writing your stories means you're writing in your own words and you're telling one story and the story is not true, because you're not writing that thing which is actually the asynchronous, and the synchronous, of course, you're not going to have the marks. The examiner is going to read the material. The examiner will read the material. He is not going to see that you have written something, we should give some marks. No. If the answer is up to mark, fine. What is asynchronous transmission? Where you will mention about it, how the data transmission is done in the asynchronous. So there would be some key terms. Whenever I taught you, I always concentrated on the key terms used. I always explained you that there would be some key terms defining. If you are not using the key terms, you are just writing stories here and there. Of course, you are not going to have the good marks. Okay. So what will happen in the asynchronous transmission? You can see over here, it uses bit by bit, stop bit and start bit and stop bit, preceding and following a character. Means the data transmission will be character by character, one character at a time. And they will have parity bits. Parity bits are basically those start bit and stop bit. These are called parity bits. Okay, and in asynchronous transmission, there won't be any clock chip because the clock is there in the synchronous transmission. Over here, you can see one diagram. If there is a note that you have to describe about synchronous and asynchronous transmission, then of course you are going to draw the diagram as well. In your answer support, your diagram is going to elaborate your answer that you know about it. If you are not mentioning, drawing the diagram, of course. So in comparison, if the question is about comparison, then okay. But if the question is about write note, describe, explain, then you should include the diagram as well, because if the question is for the long question, you need to do it, and this was given in the long question. If it is given in the short question, let's suppose define asynchronous, then you are just going to define in proper 3 to 4 lines having keywords that it contains start and stop bits, the parity bits. The transmission is done in character by character, following the parity bit. There isn't any need of the uh, clock chip. Okay. What will happen in asynchronous? The examples are mentioned over here. These examples could be asked in the MCQs. Keep in mind, these could be asked in the MCQs. So again, we are going to have same type of pattern that we had in our November test. So on Sunday, inshallah, when you are going to have the paper, you are going to have same type of paper, just like 12 MCQs were there. So 12 MCQs will be there from this chapter, chapter number 4. Go through all the material. Okay. Then there would be short questions. I had given, I think, 3, and then there would be long question. I had given 1. Okay, so the same type of pattern will be there. So such kind of examples, these could be asked in the MCQs. Okay, Then synchronous transmission has got a transmission which is in the form of the packets, also called blocks or chunks. Okay, in the form of chunks or packets or blocks. It contains a clock pulse when the data is transmitted to ensure that the data is transmitted in a proper way within the due time. Okay, so it does not contain any start and stop bit. It does not contain start and stop bit. And video conferencing, chat rooms, telephonic conversation, these all are the examples of the synchronous transmission. Of course, the speed is high in this transmission because the data is being sent in the form of packets. How you are going to represent it diagrammatically? You are going to represent it diagrammatically in this way, where the packet is being sent. Character by character transmission is not there. The packet is being sent. The question may come about the comparison, differentiate, compare, write three differences. In the short question, it is possible that they will give you write three differences. So I had given you this chart, basis of the comparison, clock pulse. This is there in the asynchronous? No. This is there in the synchronous? Yes. You have to write accordingly. Speed of transmission. Which one is fast? Now, these points enables you to remember the things easily. Remember the key points. Clock pulse, I can write one difference. About the speed, I can write one difference. Form of the data, I can write one difference, that this is in the form of blocks, this is in the form of characters. Okay. Cost, I can write one thing about it. Fine. So you need to remember at least 3 to 4. Why? Why I always say this? Because normally the question is, short question is for 3 marks, and the long question is for 4 marks, or it may be of 8 marks. So in if it is coming in the long question, the long question will contain, of course, the note about the synchronous and asynchronous transmission, complete note. You will include the characteristics, you will include the diagram, you can also include the differentiate. Depends how good you are going to write. Okay, I hope this thing is clear, that if the question is to differentiate, then you have to write accordingly. If the question is write note, you have to write it accordingly. If the question is to define, you will write it accordingly in three lines. Sometimes the question also say that write one example. It means 2 marks are there for define and 1 mark is there to write example. You need to do it accordingly. Then come toward the types of data transmission media. What are the media? We had seen a number of types. Basically, there is wire and wireless media. So both the medias are there in this chapter in detail. And when you will see your past papers, you will see that most of the questions are given from chapter number 4 and 5. But right now we are concerned about chapter number 4. And in chapter number 4, even in your past papers, you will analyze that a number of things, a number of questions will be there from the chapter number 4. Okay, so you need to prepare chapter number 4 and 5 very well. But right now in this December test, we are going to have only chapter number 4. So we are just concerned about it and we are revising this chapter. What is the guided media? Which is bounded media. Guided media is also called wired media, bounded media. This can be asked in the MCQs. Other name. What is the other name of the guided media, for example? Where you are using some wire, which is a physical pathway, physical link. Features high speed, secure, used for comparatively shorter distance. For very long distance, we are not going to use the wired media. No, we are going to use the wireless media, of course, in that situation. Where it is used, traditional telephone lines, televisions, LAN, local area networks inside the offices, in the computer labs, in the schools and the libraries and in the universities. What are the different types of the wired media? We had this diagram that we have seen for the wired media. So the same diagram we are going to explain one by one all the types, twisted pair. Okay, then we are going to elaborate the coaxial and the fiber optic cable as well. So over here you can see that twisted pair is basically the cable which is used inside the local area network. It contains 8 copper wires of different colors. If it has got one shield on it for the protection from the outside interference, then it will be called shielded twisted pair. Otherwise, it will be called unshielded twisted pair cable. Unshielded twisted pair cable is comparatively having less cost, but shielded twisted pair cable will always more cost because it has one extra cover on it. Okay. Otherwise, inside mechanism would be the same. Both of them, they have got their own advantages and disadvantages, shielded and unshielded. That's why I have mentioned over here. Then coaxial cable comes. Coaxial cable is normally used in the television networks, but it does not mean it is only for the television networks. No, it is also used in the computer networks when we are making the network, for example, using bus topology, or we are making thick net or thin net networks. It is also used in the computer systems as well. What is the structure? I had shared with you some diagrams for it, and I said that the twisted pair cable will look like this, where when shield is there, extra shield is there, and every two wires are twisted. That's why it is called twisted pair cable, and we had seen all the complete explanation for it. What type of connectors are used, I had explained you. The video links I had also given you to see the videos to have a clear vision about the structure. In coaxial cable I had shown you, and you have already seen the coaxial cable inside your houses and offices, that it contains one copper wire in it, then plastic shield is there, and on the plastic shield there is copper wire mesh net like structure is there, and on that there is a jacket. So this is basically the structure of the coaxial cable. And what are its advantages, where it is used? These are the things which can create short questions. Write 3 advantages of coaxial cable. Write 1 advantage or 2 uses of the twisted pair cable, for example. So you need to write it accordingly. Then we come towards the fiber optical. Fiber optical is a modern technology which is used underground. Normally it is spread underground to make it protected, and it does not use any current. It uses light for the transmission of the data. Of course, first the data is converted in the form of light, and the light is going to travel from the fiber optical cable. If we see its structure, we had discussed about it, that there will be 2 different types of materials used, either glass or plastic, with different refractive indices. And I had explained this phenomena using some videos as well, using some images as well, and those videos are also available in your Google Classroom. You just go and click over there, you will be able to see. If you want to have its elaboration, if you want to note down how you are going to write, you should read specifically the key words which I have used over here in the definitions. Made up of glass or plastic, it has got one core and one cladding. One core is there, one cladding is there. Core and cladding are of 2 different refractive indices. That's why the light is basically going to transmit just because of the phenomena total internal refraction. Total internal reflection is going to make the transmission of the light possible. So I had elaborated you these all things. What are the advantages? Increased capacity, lightweight, less signal attenuation. Now, what is meant by signal attenuation? You must know. Immunity to electromagnetic interference. These are the advantages. What could be the disadvantage? Of course, the cost. Cost is high, difficult for installation. If we compare it with the twisted pair and coaxial, its installation is difficult. So these all are the key points about it. We may have some comparison as well. Compare twisted pair with coaxial. Compare coaxial with, so comparison question can also come in your paper. Before going towards the next points, let me mark the attendance. So we have got from Ahmad Amanat to Muhammad Ali Kashif. Okay, fine. Now see over here, the advantages, disadvantages of the fiber optical cable. We have mentioned all the things are given to you in the form of notes. Okay, all this material is there with you. I had explained you in the unguided media. In the unguided media, now we come towards the unguided media, which is basically wireless media in nature. And in unguided media, I had explained you that basically there are two types of waves: transverse waves and the longitudinal waves. And we discussed about different characteristics, that what is meant by wavelength, what is meant by frequency, what is meant by time period, because we are concerned about the wireless transmission, and wireless transmission contains some different types of waves. We also discussed in detail. If you will go to your videos, you will be able to see that we discussed in detail all the phenomena related to the electromagnetic spectrum, what are the characteristics of the radio waves, microwaves, and infrared, and what are the differences in their wavelength, in their time periods and frequencies. And we discussed each of them one by one. Where the radio waves, what are the radio waves, where these are used, what is the range of the radio waves frequency. These questions can be asked in the MCQs as well. Okay, what are the uses of the radio waves, where these are used. These are not only used in data transmission but also used for the medical purpose and all such kind of things. Then we had discussed about the microwaves. I explained you in detail by giving a number of elaborations with the videos and animated videos you would have seen. These are available in your Google Classroom. So microwaves are basically in the line of sight which travel, and the frequency range is from 1 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. Where these are used: cell phone communication, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. These all are the ranges taken from the microwave. Now infrared is also available in the electromagnetic spectrum, a wireless communication signal which is used basically for short for the short distances, just like in the mouse, keyboard, and printers. We may have the infrared devices. Frequency range is from 300 to 400, 300 gigahertz to 400 terahertz. Then come towards the Bluetooth, because Bluetooth is also given separately in your book, and we discussed about what is basically meant by Bluetooth. Is a commonly, and most of the students, this question was there, I think, in one face-to-face or in recent of exam. Most of the students wrote good answer. Why? Because all of you are using Bluetooth. So you know that Bluetooth is a technology used for transmitting data from one device to another wirelessly by pairing two devices. So most of the students had written this answer correct. What are the uses? Now, if you are asked that write three uses of the Bluetooth, you need to write three different uses. You are not going to repeat first use you have mentioned in first point, second point is also the same in different words. No, there should be some different point. Okay. So just like control home security gadgets using Bluetooth, we can switch on devices using Bluetooth. And when we are saying we are transferring file from one device to another, so both the answers are different. Similarly, when we are saying that we can attach peripherals like keyboard, mouse, etc. using Bluetooth, so all the three options, three uses that we have taken over here, all three are basically different. play multimedia games over the Bluetooth by connecting using Bluetooth. So all the points should be different. Does not mean that you have been asked for the three advantages. You are writing one advantage three times in different words. No. And some students had done this, and definitely only 1 mark will be given, or what the different points are there. If two different points are found, then only 2 marks will be given over there. You need to be very much careful about it. The examiner is not going to see that you have written something, give him 3 marks. No, the examiner is going to read the material. Satellite communication is there. Satellite communication satellite is basically artificial satellite. I had explained you the complete procedure basically, and how satellite is used for the sake of communication. Satellite is an artificial satellite that relies on and amplifies radio telecommunication signals via a transponder. It creates a communication channel between a source transmitter and a receiver at different locations on Earth. So we had seen this thing that there would be uplink and downlink to communicate with the satellite. Okay, the satellite will receive information, the satellite will send information on the Earth. We had seen the complete phenomena in detail. What are its advantages? What are the uses of the satellites? Where it is used? We had seen this thing as well. And all these points we had covered about the satellite transmission. So, what you need to do? You will, number one, you will cover all the questions given at the end of this chapter. You are going to cover all the questions given at the end of the chapter number 4. Number 1. Number 2, you will also go through all the text and notes given to you in your Google Classroom, so that if a question comes which is not from the given questions which are here, because I have covered, we had gone through all these things, that if something is missing, if something is missing, so these things are covered in your Google Classroom. If some question, if something is missing, for example, so you will see the notes contain each and everything. Missing, I want to say that there are questions which are not covering the complete text. So what I have given you the notes for this chapter, you will go and you will see the chapter 4 is being started from August. So you will go there, and when you will click the previous lessons, then you will be able to see that when in August we had started this thing. So from the beginning, you can see all the videos. You can see over here the chapter number 4. You can see that all the videos are available over here. You can go through them to from 10th of August. We had started chapter number 4. So you will go and you will read the material with each class. The material is given to you almost in each class. The material will be uploaded. Okay, and you will see that complete material is there. Then day by day, I started giving material. So you will find out that day by day, complete material, complete notes for this chapter will be given to you. Okay. So wherever if you find that the material is not there, it means we have discussed something, but we have not written the notes. But in the next lesson, you will see that the notes are there. So in the all the notes, when you will compile them, those students who are studying at home and giving time, they would have already compiled all the notes. So they will have the file like this file. Just like this is the file that I have given you in pieces whenever we studied any topic. Okay. I hope all these things are now